Hello everyone, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk entertainment. We are going to be a little bit all over the board today because we have some different things we want to talk about and some different things that are going on right now and just some different information that I have gathered. Is the information 100% correct? We don't know, but we are going to present it to you in the best fashion that we can. But before we do that, I got an email from a young gentleman named, I always tell him, I said I'm going to be sorry if I mispronounce his name, but it's Diego Doucette. And Diego Doucette is from Ontario, Canada. He's a young gentleman that just graduated from high school, and he's looking for an opportunity to continue his career in football. He's an outside linebacker and a defensive end. And we promised him that we would actually play his part of his high school tape. So what we're going to do is we are going to play part of his high school tape while we do the show right now. Basically, his goal in life is to be a successful business person, maybe or have a YouTube channel, and of course play football. And his aspirations are actually to build a homeless shelter in his own neighborhood, where he basically grew up because of a childhood tragedy. So you know what, Diego Doucette, we are going to play your tape right now, and we are going to talk over it. And if anyone is interested in speaking to Mr. Doucette, we are going to put a link to his YouTube page on the bottom, and like I said, we wish this gentleman well. But let's get into a couple things. I sent out an email yesterday, and I just got a response back, and it was in reference to Yannick Ngakoue. It actually went out to the same gentleman that told us that the Jaguars were going to trade him to the Baltimore Ravens, and the next day they did make a trade, but it was for Calais Campbell. So we kind of got that wrong, but you know what? We don't get everything right. But this gentleman, I emailed him again, and I said, any updates? Anything we could talk about with Yannick? Because I'm always interested in that situation. Two things that came out to be very interesting because I was trying to kind of push them back to the Giants. Number one would be that David Caldwell has recently started to have conversations with Yannick again. And this comes as a surprise. Well, not really to some, because Yannick has fired his agent. His agent kind of screwed up this whole thing pretty badly for Mr. Yannick Ngakoue. And I feel bad for him in some regards because he's put into a vicarious situation that, he's already said he doesn't want to go back to the Jags. Now, with the removal of the agent and him speaking to David Caldwell, I asked him, is there again any opportunity for the New York Giants to swoop in and be the hero of the day and sign this gentleman or trade for this gentleman? Basically, I was told no. I was told no. That's probably not going to happen. A point of interest is, and I thought it was, and I haven't verified or looked into it all, he had mentioned in the email the Arizona Cardinals. And I was thinking, well, the Arizona Cardinals may not be, I haven't checked their cap space or anything else, but the Arizona Cardinals are an interesting destination for Mr. Ngakoue. Would I like to see him in New York? Sure. But I also don't want to see him in New York where we have to give up assets. What is interesting is Yannick has already said that I think it's 17.8 is his cap number, that he will play for any team for his cap number and then negotiate a long-term contract. To me, that's rolling the dice, because what if you get him, you trade your assets, because the Jags are still looking for first-rounders. So what if you trade him, and then, you roll the dice, and then he goes and signs someplace else? I think the problem is Yannick had a very small contract when he came into the league, so he hasn't had that payday yet. And this 17.8 would be his payday. And I can't see him leaving that on the table right now. I mean, in some regards, it would be in his best interest to just sign his tag and hope either the Jags trade him or he plays out the 17. And then hope that the Jags don't tag him next year. I'm reading the email, and he's actually saying something about the Browns as well. But we've talked about the Browns as well. But my thing is, if we break it down, like I said, it's a big number for him to pass up. And I wouldn't see him passing that up. I would see him coming into camp late, maybe with about a week left. Because honestly, with 14 padded practices, you're not really going to miss much. And he can't play the run, so his job should be just to rush the damn quarterback and just kind of go from there. But that's enough on Yannick. Let's get into the Giants a little bit more. The Giants have had an interesting couple hours with the Ross Cockell situation. And it turns out now that old Ross Cockell situation fell apart because of financial terms, which is probably always the problem. You know, I mean, it's always an issue that you're always going to have an issue with the finances. That's always the problem with the contract. But, you know, like I said, for it to fall apart, I mean, he came, you know, like I said, he was willing to come here. He's been here. And for us, with money in the bank, not being able to come up with some type of agreement, even on a 1-year deal, you know, that I don't know. I don't know what the Giants, honestly don't know what the Giants are thinking in reference to that. I mean, we need him. We need his veteran presence. We need the versatility. His versatility. And I love it because, you know, you see that they talk about Peppers and his versatility in the secondary, and then Joe Judge saying that he may play him, may play him in the slot or a corner or something. And, you know, that's a bad idea. Greg Williams, who is you know what, you could think whatever you want about Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator. He is a lot of things, but excellent defensive coordinator is one thing that he truly is. And he even, you know, he had Peppers. And what did he do? Peppers was playing free safety. He moved him to strong safety. Why? Because his coverage skills are sometimes lacking. And he's better as an in-the-box safety. He is better as a, you know, I don't want to say it, but he's better as in the Landon Collins role. And he really is. I mean, if you put him out in coverage too much, you're going to find out quickly that he cannot, you know, he won't be able to fill the bill. He is very, I mean, don't get me wrong, Peppers is extremely athletic. But the problem is, I just don't see him being able to hang with certain receivers or any type of slot receivers. Now, the problem with all of this is that this cornerback situation that we're having without really a veteran presence outside of James Bradberry puts all the weight back on James Bradberry. It puts everything back on his shoulders. And I think in some ways I don't want to you know what? James Bradberry is a pro. He replaced Josh Norman. He's a pro's pro. And I don't think that we're going to have a situation or an issue with him coming in over to the New York Giants and excelling. But we also don't want to put a ton of pressure on this guy that we don't need to. We do not need unwanted pressure on this guy. And, you know, it's just interesting that people are like, you know, well, you know, he is going to be, you know, he is going to be the guy. I mean, that's just the way it is. Now, the Giants did sign another rookie defensive back, Prince Smith. But you know what? I don't see, you know, again, and I love when people get an undrafted free agent wide receiver or something, and they're like, well, you know what? This guy is going to be, this is for my friend Jersey Mike. He sent me an email and goes, you know what your thing is, Tim? You're doing your deep voice and you reminded me of Gladiator. And I thought to myself, wow, that's my favorite movie. Because frost, sometimes it makes the blade stick. That's enough Gladiator references. Even wait, one more though. My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius. All right, but you know, we signed Prince Smith, and like I said, you sign guys that weren't drafted, and they weren't drafted for a reason. I don't want to hear that, well, this was a really strong receiver class. That's why he wasn't selected. No. You become an I can't even talk today. I'm moving some papers around. I do apologize. Someone said to me the other day, you know what? It's not very professional that you move papers around and make noise when you do these videos. Well, you know what? I'm not a professional. You want to watch professional? Go watch ESPN. And even I think they're not that professional. But you know what? I mean, I just lost my own train of thought. The train left the station and I wasn't on it. But like I was saying, now I got it back. You are an undrafted free agent wide receiver or defensive back for a reason. And that reason is not because the wide receiver class was so deep. No, you had some issues, some problems, some Something that took people out and had them say, you know what? We, out of the 300 guys drafted, the 200 whatever guys drafted, we are not going. I miss when they had 12 rounds, but we are not going to draft this guy. We are going to sign him as an undrafted free agent. And a lot of people go, well, he could be the next Victor Cruz. You know what? I could be the next Victor Cruz. You don't know. I mean, Reggie White Jr. There you go, Brooklyn Hit Squad. He could be the next Victor Cruz. I don't know. But you know what? For every Victor Cruz, there's a Travis Rudolph. There's 300 Travis Rudolphs. And we've said this a million times. So we can't sit there and hope that some undrafted free agents that we brought in are going to tear the league apart. Because you know what? If you're doing that, you're not doing your job as a general manager. I don't blame Joe Judge if it's the same thing. You know what? You're given the ingredients, you got to make the bread. Parcells said it when he left New England. If you want me to cook, at least let me go out and buy some of the groceries. Joe Judge is not at that point in his career, so he basically has to just take what they give him. So I don't fault Joe Judge for having 1,200 undrafted free agent wide receivers. I fault Dave Gettleman and the scouting staff if they think these are the guys that, if Golden Tate goes down or Sterling Shepard's in injury, is in the protocol for concussions, or Darius Slayton starts having a bad year, or Evan Ingram falls out of the bathtub and goes back in the bubble wrap. So I mean, I don't blame Joe Judge for that. I blame the front office. But to think that we are going to excel because we have all these, undrafted free agents, you don't know anything about football if you think that. You need to go read a book about football, because you are an undrafted free agent for a reason. And like I said, I'm not picking on undrafted free agents. There's been some great ones. James Harrison. There's been some marvelous Victor Cruz. There's been some great undrafted free agents. But for every one of the great stories, there's 1,000 stories that never happened. So that's what we have to worry about, and that's what we have to think of. And like I said, this is kind of a mishmash today. It's a little bit of everything, and hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to, you can just drop us an email at onlineBigBlue@gmail.com. And, of course, you can also follow us on Twitter at OnlineBigBlue1 on Twitter. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best of New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could subscribe, if you could ring that bell, I think you know what that means. That'd be awesome.